Hey guys, I'm Jerry Miculek and welcome back to Gun Gab. I've got a new product here to show you. It's the Smith & Wesson Performance Center Ported M&P 9 5-inch 2.0. I've been waiting for this gun to come out. It's going to be my 3-gun competition pistol. And let's take a look at it together, kind of give you an idea of what's in the box and what's different from the old M&P series of pistols. So, of course, this is the 5-inch. And what I really like about it, it's a Performance Center gun, so it has some enhancements. It also comes with a little cleaning kit. It comes with 4 interchangeable back straps, and what you'll notice instantly is the texturing on these are a lot more aggressive than the older M&P pistols. So you get 2 magazines in this box, 2 17-round mags, 4 grip panels, and let's get a closer look at the gun itself here. Let me get this out of the way. And one thing I found about the M&P pistols in general is that the magazine quality is really super. So heart and soul of any firearm, especially, well, any pistol, any magazine-fed gun is the magazine. Excellent magazine design. All right, so it's a ported gun. You notice there's some lightning cuts here on the slide. There's 2 big ports in the front. Of course, we have a chamber flag. We're empty, no magazine. Some of the enhancements over the over the M&P pistol, the 2.0 would be, of course, the aggressive texturing on the frame and the back strap. The Performance Center comes with a trigger stop, which is a good thing, really good thing. They've also enhanced the slide stop, and the front of the frame itself, the chassis, there's a steel insert, so if you attach a light or any kind of an optic here, or laser, I should say, laser light or whatever, it's a lot more rigid. It holds its point of aim a lot better. So a lot of small enhancements. This slide, of course, is cut for an optic. You just take this little piece of plastic off. It comes with 5 base pads. They come in the box and they're ready to go. There's a kit there available to fit, I think, 7 different optics. So you have 5 pads that you can interchange on top of the slide. And there's screws, of course, to fit every one of them. And with these kits right here, well, there's actually more of them now. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. There's 7 adapters, and I think it fits 7 or 8 different optics now. So they've actually improved that since the first ones I have gotten. So I should have looked in the box before I opened it. So there you have it, guys. A whole bunch of different optics you can mount on the slide. Of course, the sights are high enough to where you can co-witness them on most of the optics, so which is a good thing. So let's take a look at the inside of the pistol. One thing you notice also on the 2.0 series is that the magazine catch is steel. The original M&P pistols were a plastic polymer with a steel insert on them, which I never had any problem with, but these are all steel. Trigger stop is a big thing if you're a competitor. And one thing about the Smith & Wesson series of semi-automatic pistols, the M&Ps, is that you can actually reach inside of the gun and disconnect the sear to release it without snapping it. So let's go ahead and take it off. But if you look closer on the inside of the frame, there's several things that have changed on the 2.0s. The front lock block is a lot longer, of course. Different slide stop assembly. And the big thing for the shooter aspect of it is where the trigger bar engages the sear. They've changed that pivot point, and that allows the trigger to be a lot shorter pull and a lot crisper reset. They also have a tactile reset, so after you fire a shot, you actually feel more of a click in the trigger mechanism. A lot of guys requested that, and Smith & Wesson came through and made that a reality. Of course, the magazine release is ambidextrous. You can flip it over. You just reach in there and pull that little rod to the side, flip the mag catch over. So it's ambidextrous magazine release, aggressive texturing. And on the slide, what they've done on the 2.0s, they've enhanced the safety plunger here. They've textured it, or should I say radiused it more. So when the trigger bar goes over that safety notch, it's a lot cleaner trigger pull. Of course, it has an encapsulated recoil spring, and this gun has a stainless steel barrel that's factory ported, and of course that would coincide and index with the front set of ports. So a good porting like this is worth about maybe 25–30% recoil control with the right ammunition. So usually the lighter bullets going faster will give you more compensating effect. So it's a striker fired gun. I've shot a lot of ammunition through the M&P series. Now it's my standard carry gun, so got a lot of hours behind them. I trust them. There are a lot of good features there. Easy to maintain, extremely easy. And I do have to say, since I've been in competition with them, it's one of the guns that I go to and has the least amount of problems. Of course, I've maintained them to that level and never had any issues with them. So very fortunate there. So reassembly is quick. But the big thing to a competitor or an enthusiast or anybody who likes to shoot a pistol well is the trigger pull itself. These guns have a greatly enhanced trigger pull over the original M&P pistols, and I'll give you a little bit of a test drive on it so we're clear. If you watch the trigger action itself, this is just some play on the trigger that you take up the slack. Of course, you have to have that in any striker fired gun, and that first part of the trigger pull actually depresses that safety mechanism that you see in the slide, which allows the striker to go forward. So once you get into that firing position, you only have about a 60,000th of an inch pull, and then it will fire. There you go. They have this reset on this one set really close, but if you watch the actual reset for the next shot, it's very, very minimal, and it's ready to fire again. So it's real close to a 1911 trigger. Being it's still a pivoting trigger, but it has a very short pull and very short reset. So one of the big differences between the M&P and the M&P 2.0, of course, is the SEER blocks, front and rear. You see this lock block on the 2.0 is a lot longer, and the frame is enhanced with a metal liner in the molding process. And when you go back to the trigger bar and also to the SEER assembly, there's a big difference here also. What you notice on the older guns, the original M&Ps, is that the drawbar actually works the SEER assembly from the bottom. You notice this little, looks like a wedge that goes under the SEER. That's what actually releases the striker. And on the 2.0 series, it's different in the aspect that it comes from the top of the SEER. You notice here that when the drawbar goes to the rear, it's pushing on the top, so the pivot point is changed. And what that allows the engineering department to do is to give it a lot shorter reset and a lot of crisper reset. So that's some of the enhancements between the original M&P and the 2.0. And another thing that I really like, if you notice on the back of the frames, they've done away with this tang. I call it and what that allows me to do with a shorter frame size like this, I can miss my draw and still get back on the gun really quick. Where this one is kind of a hamper. When you sweep it into it, it has an extension. So you have to approach the gun a little bit different in a holster. This one allows for a little bit more inconsistency in your grab, but also a better consistency to the presentation of the target, if that makes any sense. I have to be almost perfect in my grab here to get on this frame, where this one allows me more error to get behind the gun out of the holster quicker. So it's small enhancements like that, just like the texturing of the frame, and also the on this model has a over travel limiter. So what that does with your finger is keeps you from overcycling, makes the shot-to-shot consistency a little bit shorter and a little bit cleaner. So the more rapid fire you do, the least amount of trigger motion is always the best. And the overall, it's a lot of enhancements that makes it even better. But I know what you're thinking, what's the actual trigger weight? Let's give it some testing here. Grab a trigger gauge, trigger pull gauge, and let's see what it does. That was 4 pounds, 12 ounces. Let's try it again. 4 pounds, 12 ounces, almost exactly the same. Very short pull, very short reset for a polymer gun. Kind of give you an idea of what the older guns would look like. This is an 09L. This is the M&P series. And if you watch the trigger cycle itself, you notice that when it fires, it still continues to the rear, 60 thousandths, 80 thousandths of an inch. And also the reset is going to be a lot longer when you release it and you hear it engage the SEER again. It's right there, so about 1/8 of an inch. So they've taken about 2/3 or more of the trigger reset travel out, and also have lightened the trigger considerably. So let's see what this one is going to do on the trigger gauge here right quick. All right. Six pounds, 7 ounces on that pull. So we're looking at quite a difference so far. £6, 5 ounces. So considerable amount of difference in the actual trigger weight, but also the reset speed. This one doesn't have that tactile reset that the new 2.0s have. A lot of guys asked for that feature. They wanted to have an audible and also a more of a feel on the face of the trigger for when the sear resets. You can hear it and you can feel it. A very distinct reset on the sear. So this is about as close to a 1911 style trigger you could get in a polymer pistol, and it's right from the factory. So, but what I really like about it is you can put your optic of choice on it. And for the older guys like me that shoot the open divisions, you definitely want to have an optic. So what I run for an optic is the Vortex Venom. This is a 6-minute of angle dot in it. It's a very compact little sight. And they make 2 of them. They actually make 3 sights that would fit this gun. The Venom, the Viper, and the Razor. The Viper has a battery on the bottom. The Venom, if you want to change the battery, is a battery cap on top, so you don't have to remove the sight from the slide to change the battery. So in competition, I like that feature. If I'm going into a match and I want to flip in a new battery, I don't have to dismount the sight and maybe change the point of aim, point of impact. That's one thing I don't want to ever alter, especially before a match or during a match. So with this particular optic, you have that feature of being able to change the battery with the battery cap on top. So once you mount it, you're good to go. So let's go ahead and put it together. All right, guys, one of the features of this handgun that I really like is the ability to put an optic on it really easily. So they have this filler plate on the back. We're going to go ahead and remove the screws, and of course you just take this off and you find a base pad that matches your optics. This one matches the Vortex, let me put it on the right way, the Vortex Venom that I use. And you just put it on there, and they've got enough assortment of screws here so you can find the right ones that match your optics correctly. So we can just put them on there like that and torque them down, and it makes this into a red dot ready to go brace gun. So I really like that feature. 65-year-old eyes, man, I tell you. Another thing I do like about the Vortex product here is that the battery goes in from the top. So you don't have to take the sight off to change the battery. You never lose zero that way. So you can just flip the cap off and put your battery in. One of the things I try to do on all my equipment, I'm constantly competing and I'm training. So I like to put little visual clues on my equipment. Once I torque all this in and I take it out to the range and I get it sighted in, I'll take a marker. This one I'll use like a silver marker because it's a black sight. And I'll put a cold witness mark on the screws. And you can make them smaller and neater than that, but I'm in a hurry. So, and what I try to do there is have a witness mark on every screw and everything that can possibly come loose. I want to have a witness mark on it. So if I'm going to a match and I'm in a position to, when I'm given a command by the range officer, load and make ready, I can just take a visual on top of my gun. And I know the screws are torqued down to the right spec, they're in line, and the cap is fully tight. All I got to do is put ammunition in and rack it, and I'm ready to play. So you want to be in the know on everything, because when you're in a match, they don't give you 2 runs. You got the first one has to be the one. So you want to have all your equipment set the way you want it, and those witness marks, I use it on all my optics, all the scope bases. Anything with a screw on is going to have a witness mark, so I can go right to it. And if you need to take it off and change it, just get a little bit of brake cleaner or something to that effect. You can take the witness mark right off, retorque it, recalibrate it, witness mark it again. Saves you a lot of grief, but it also gives you a lot of confidence on the line. So that's what you have here, guys. Smith & Wesson Performance Center 2.0. If you're interested in one like this, these were sent here by Big Daddy Unlimited. They have some of the best pricing, and they also help support the channel. So if you like any of this equipment, you might better get it there. Get some.